All right, and let's finish up here this final hour with some football. And we mentioned Tyreek Hill with Mike Jones, who was just on the program from the Athletic, the national football writer. And, I think a lot of people have dissed Tua and not really looked at what he did last year's numbers and the reason that they gave him the big pay bag, the big pay, the big salary, the big contract that people were frowning on. But it's because he's a quarterback who can make stuff happen with talent. And now, if it wasn't about Tua and it's about everybody, well, he's got all the weapons, anybody could do. Well, since Tua has been out, they can't score. They can't get anything going. We talked about it at a stretch of 10 quarters in a row with no touchdowns. They got a meaningless touchdown in the 11th quarter of that stretch to end that streak. But it's been mostly misses and no hits. So it's not always about the talent. You got to have a quarterback. If you're Tyreek Hill, somebody to get you the ball. If you're Devontae Adams, right? Devontae Adams went there because
Derek Carr was there.
He thought Derek Carr was his guy from college. Right.
Derek Carr's a solid to good quarterback. Yeah, I mean, you need that. I think what Tua did, now the challenge with this conversation is there is a chance, and I think it's a small chance, but there's a chance we never see Tua throw a football again in the NFL. He's weighing that. I obviously feel like he wants to come back, and he may, but I'm just saying there is a chance he doesn't come back with now having 3 concussions, 3 seasons. That is absolutely staggering, and we've all seen the way he's had those concussions. But you're right, Tua earned his money. Remember when they asked Tyreek Hill, he was like, hey, man, I played with Patrick Mahomes, but these balls come on time when Tua's throwing them. I ain't going to lie, these balls are right where they need to be with the way Tua's throwing them.
He gave him high praise.
He gave him high praise, and you felt like it wasn't just gassing up my guy now.
Because he didn't have to do that because he won a Super Bowl with Mahomes, so he could easily acquiesce.
And just say, I don't want to answer. They're both talented. No,
exactly.
He was saying, hey,
they're
man,
all talented in their own right and all that.
All I know is these balls are coming out on time. They're right where they need to be. And you see, and we've already knew that was the selling point on Tua. He's not the most elusive, not the biggest guy, but man, is he accurate. Man, does he get the ball where he needs to be. That was what they were saying coming out of Alabama. And then we've seen it in the NFL. And when he's right, that offense is a juggernaut. They're scoring, Parker, they're scoring 80-yard touchdown drives in 3 plays.
And remember, we saw them put up a 70-piece in an NFL game.
Absolutely ridiculous.
You can say whatever you want about it. It was about Denver.
Playing.
Right. They put up 70 points in an NFL game.
But what I find interesting, so Tua definitely showing it ain't the system. It ain't these these wide receivers that we have and these nice running backs. It's me. It's the trust in me. It's the timing that I have with these players. It is the rapport that I have with these receivers, and that's why this thing is working. Now, an interesting conversation, if I can pivot a bit, is going back to what we were talking about with Mike Jones. He and some other writers at The Athletic had a poll talking about what's the player that you would want to start your franchise with aside from a quarterback. And the league, all the players they ask in the league, they all said Tyreek Hill, because he's just that dynamic, what he does. We've seen the stats he puts up, the ability to score at any given point when he has the ball. So I ask you, Rob Parker, I know who my answer is. Quarterback aside, who are you starting a franchise with? I have mine.
I'll let you go first.
Aiden Hutchins.
Okay.
Detroit Lions, defensive end. If you've watched him the last 2 seasons, it's absolutely ridiculous. 2.5. It's ridiculous what he's doing. He's going after the quarterback at a crazy rate. He's getting sacks, or he's getting pressured, or he's making quarterbacks uncomfortable, so they're throwing the ball off. They're stepping up in the pocket. They're trying to scramble. They're getting hit. They're turning the ball over. He affects the game so much on the defensive side of the ball. And the reason why I like that, as we've seen with guys like Tyreek Hill, I think the second place person who got the votes in this poll was Justin Jefferson. The reason I don't like that is because he's amazing, but if the quarterback isn't great, or if the offensive line is maybe down a guy or two, well, he can be eliminated from the game. By the way, the Padres just hit a home run. Like we said, they're gonna those bats. We're not overly worried about that. Give me a guy that it don't matter what anybody else is doing, he can do what he does. He can get me 2 sacks in a game. He can give me 2 tackles for a loss. He can create 2 fumbles in a game. So give me a defensive end who can still wreak havoc on a team, and it doesn't have to be depending on who's getting him the ball like a receiver. That's just me. Who you got?
Yeah, I get
Is it an offensive player?
I still think it's an offensive player.
Derrick Henry?
Like a Derrick Henry, but because we can't take Lamar, because Lamar would be the guy I would start.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I really would.
Yeah.
Lamar.
I ain't arguing with that
because he could do so many things, and it's not a knock on Patrick Mahomes. It's just that he really can change the game 2 ways.
He's the hardest to plan for.
Right, you just don't know. Right, exactly. If he's going to throw it or is he going to hold on to it and run crazy, and you see what he can do in the open field. Like he's pretty amazing.
Who else you got? You got receivers.
I said Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, so Derrick Henry would be yours. I mean, again, he's had an amazing Hall of Fame career. I'm not
and he
mad
still
at that.
got juice in the tank. It ain't like
that dude is too big to be that fast and that powerful. It doesn't make any sense.
And I get the defensive players, but you also can do your thing defensively and still not win if you can't generate.
True.
And that's where the frustration and this is where you could push back on going with a defensive player. Is that for a lot of years the Broncos had great defenses and they couldn't get a quarterback and they still didn't win with regularity because there just wasn't enough offense. You know what I mean?
Listen, first of all, aside from quarterback, it's a difficult thing.
But
they did. I think we all agree on that.
They did win that Super Bowl. They won that Super Bowl for Peyton Manning. That was the defense, right?
That you can say, I mean, we know what the Ravens have done. We know what the Buccaneers did back in, I think it was 03.
Every once in a while you have an all-time great defense, and that can lead the
Legion
win.
of Boom. Yeah, I just would rather start with somebody where I know, guess who I ain't got to worry about? J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt. You know, I ain't got to worry about Aiden Hutchins. I don't have to worry about Reggie White. You know what I mean? Or Lawrence Taylor coming up. I know he was an outside linebacker. But, give me that guy where I already know I don't have to worry about that. And the plays they make actually change the game, right? Lawrence Taylor was making game-changing plays every single week. So I'd rather that than a receiver where it's like, all right, quarterback, if our quarterback's hurt or he just goes with another team, now I'm stuck with this receiver with a guy who can't get him the ball, and now he's a lesser version of himself, and so it doesn't really equate to things. So he's catching 7 catches, 75 yards, but what did it really matter? Give me the guy who can cause sacks, which means he gives me the ball sooner, maybe causing fumbles, give me the ball again. So that's me.
No,
we can open it up too to see. I mean, maybe it is still on the offensive side of the ball.
I just think the game has turned into an offensive game, the NFL.
Not this year.
And I mean, it's been struggles, but I think that overall the game is offensive. And there used to be a time when it was more so defensive struggles, and it was about defense and some of the best players. And it doesn't mean that there aren't great defensive players. There are.
I feel like you just want to argue with me.
No, I'm just saying.
Your face does not believe Derrick Henry. I was going to let it ride for these first few minutes.
No, I'm going to say Derrick Henry because I think we have downgraded the running back position, and I think it's a very important position.
Jim Brown is rolling around his grave.
Okay, and it opens up so much on the football field, running out the clock in order to win a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you got to get that first down and you can't throw it, you need somebody to get you 3 yards. Like, they tried to discount it. I don't think you could really discount it. We saw what happened to the Ravens when they stopped running the ball in the AFC Championship game. They lost.
I don't know. To this day,
right?
they got to be beating themselves up over that.
They stopped running the ball. And
they did that this year, too, by the way. They lost to the Raiders and brought the game back close to the Cowboys. It's like, you do have a monster truck back there. You do know that, right? Let's open it up.
I think running is important, and I think it has been downgraded, but I think watching Derrick Henry this year, knowing what he brings to Baltimore.
Not mad at it.